This is the story about the Bunker Hill Mine. Over its 100 years of operations, this mine eventually grew to become one of the largest mining and smelting operations in the world. However, it also left a legacy of being a very dirty, toxic place that would see many suffer from poisoning of lead and other heavy metals. It was in September 1885 that prospector Philip O'Rourke staked and filed the Bunker Hill mining claim on the west side of Milo Creek in northern Idaho. A few other claims were staked around the same time by another prospector named Noah Kellogg. Another prospector named Cornelius Sullivan then staked the Sullivan claim on the east side of Milo Creek. Noah eventually ended up selling his claim to Jim Wardnear. Jim was the man who ended up starting the town of Wardnear, Idaho. Now there are other versions of this story about how it was a mule that discovered this mine. Noah Kellogg had a mule that he used when prospecting, and one night the mule broke loose. As the legend goes, the mule, when found, was standing on a mineral outcropping of galena on a hill above Milo Creek. The story has it that the mule was gazing across the canyon at another outcropping of silver galena. Once mining got started, the company had to get a mill going to crush the ore down, because shipping ore out was very expensive and the lack of roads made shipping costly and time-consuming. Initially, crushed ore was shipped out by wagon to Kingston and then loaded onto a steamship that would take the concentrates to Coeur d'Alene. Then concentrates were reloaded onto a wagon again and hauled to Rathdrum, Idaho, and finally loaded onto the Northern Pacific Railroad to Spokane. After a few years, they built a railway to connect Coeur d'Alene to the Northern Pacific Railway on the east side of Spokane, Washington, and another section of rail from Coeur d'Alene to the town of Burke. In 1886, a new mill was built, and this mill could crush out 100 tons of ore a day. This refined ore was known to contain upwards of 28 ounces of silver per ton. By 1891, a new section of rail was laid and ore was then being shipped and smelted in Wicks, Montana. In July of 1887, a man by the name of Simeon Reed bought the mine and milling complex and incorporated the Bunker Hill and Sullivan Mining and Concentrating Company. A 10,000-foot-long aerial tramway was constructed to connect the mine at it over in Wardnear with the mill complex located in Kellogg. A new concentrator that was capable of producing 150 tons of ore a day was built at this time also. In 1894, the mine added an electric hoist and started tunneling to connect the mine with Kellogg. Once the tunnel was completed, horses that were used in the mines were then replaced with electric locomotives. Like many mines back in those days, labor unrest and striking miners was felt at the Bunker Hill mines. On April 29, 1899, during a union demonstration, some of the miners hijacked a Northern Pacific train in Burke and took it to Wardnear. After a firefight with the mine security guards, they dynamited the Bunker Hill and Sullivan ore concentrator. Within 3 months, however, the mine had a new concentrator up and running again. During this time, over 1,500 federal and state troops were brought in on the side of the mine owners on July 14. Hundreds of miners were imprisoned without formal charges or trials. Some miners were locked up for over a year. This allowed the mines to keep mining using scab miners. After the unions and mine owners came to agreement of working conditions and wages, work carried on. Then in March of 1904, a new ore body was discovered, substantially increasing the mine's reserves. At its peak of production, the Bunker Hill mine reached a depth of 400 feet below sea level. Its mill was producing 3,000 tons per day. The smelter produced almost 10,000 tons of lead, while the zinc plant had a capacity of over 4,000 tons of zinc, and the cadmium plant was capable of 50,000 pounds per month. By 1982, with the grades becoming lower and the mining costs rising, the mine closed down. However, today, with modern technology and new mining methods, this old mine is coming to life once again. The mine is being redeveloped by the Bunker Hill Mining Company. I hope you enjoyed this short story about the old Bunker Hill mine. Please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you more old lost mine stories.